All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our conference call with Theo Johnson. As always, please raise your hand and I will call on you. We'll start with Rich Carcella.
Good morning, Theo. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Theo, what can you tell us are the strengths of Taquan Roberson and Christian Villu?
I think that they're both very hard workers, and I think that they're both very determined. And I think it really shows with how they practice now. They come to practice every day, always willing to learn. I think Christian in particular, he's done a great job at just being a sponge and kind of trying to soak in as much as he can from Sean and from Coach Gershich. So I think that's been really good to see, especially a young guy coming in and just wanting to learn. So I think he's had a great attitude coming into the season. And I think Taquan as well. I think a lot of guys have a lot of confidence in Taquan. And I think that him continuing to show his work ethic and his consistency in practice is continuing to gain that confidence in people.
Greg Pickle.
Good morning, Theo. Thanks for your time. When you had the chance to go back and self-scout both your play and the position group as a whole during the bye week, what did you learn? What did you like? And where are some areas you're focused on as a group for the second half?
I think that a big thing for me is just continue to be just ferociously physical every play. Just give maximum effort every play. I think that's something I was looking at that I've been doing well at and that I want to continue doing and continue being, the centerpiece of the run game. I think that like for the tight end, a lot of our blocks are some of the main blocks in our run schemes. So we have vital jobs when it comes to run blocking. So just for the entire group, continuing to do our job in the run game is going to be crucial for us. Getting this run game going. So those are like kind of the main points. And me personally, just continuing to be consistent. I think that's something that I've talked with Coach Howell about, is just continue to be consistent, to put trust in, to gain trust with the quarterbacks and gain trust with Coach Gershich. So that's something I've looked at in the bye week, and I'm going to continue to work on from end of the season.
Joe Giuliano.
Good morning, Theo. Would part of your review last week of the first 6 games be wanting more to see the tight ends involved? It seemed like against Iowa there wasn't much action for you guys. What are your thoughts on seeing the tight ends more involved in the offense?
I think that it goes back to what I was saying of consistency. I think that if I continue to do something with the ball when it comes to me, then that's going to take care of itself. I just need to give more confidence in the play caller and the quarterback that I'm going to handle the ball and take care of the ball when it comes to me. So I think if I continue to do that, then ball's going to start coming my way a little more. But as a whole, as a unit, I think we're prepared for it. We're ready for it, and when they start coming, we're going to make the plays when they come to us. So we're not really we know it's going to come. It's just you got to be patient. You got to trust the system. What Yurtsev says all the time is just you got to have trust. I think all the tight ends have trust that if we continue to make plays and do something with the ball when it comes to it, we're going to start getting more targets.
Donnie Collins.
Theo, you talked about being the tight ends being the centerpiece of the run game. Do you think you've made strides in that area from last year, and in what ways? How?
I think I've definitely made strides for sure, and honestly, even from this season, just technique wise, I think Coach Howell's just his background has really done a great job at coaching me up through his offseason. We got a lot of really great work. I just think I'm a lot more technically sound like this year and last year. I think last year I was just trying to get on the field like any way possible, and my technique was kind of sporadic. I think I kind of reined it in this year Obviously, I got a lot more work to do, but I think that's something that I'm kind of pleased with is my technique and working on my footwork and stuff like that. You know, just as simple as first step. That's something that I think a lot of people overlook. It's a very simple technical thing, but it kind of means a lot. If you got a bad first step, that kind of throws off your whole run blocking footwork. So just simple stuff like that. I think that I've definitely improved a lot of this year.
Audrey Snyder.
Hey Theo, thanks for your time this morning.
Um,
I wanted to ask you about Taekwon's demeanor and him as a leader. You mentioned that both those guys work hard, but I mean, is he a vocal guy, a demonstrative guy? I mean, what's he like on those instances when you guys do huddle?
I think Taekwon is definitely a leader. I think that obviously Sean being a guy like he's probably the most vocal, just because obviously he was the starting guy, still the starting guy. But I think Taekwon is definitely a leader. I think a lot of people listen when he speaks. I think that his what he says carries weight. So I think that he's definitely a vocal guy. I think um, the more he gets comfortable, the more vocal he'll get. But I think that you know he's definitely been a really great vocal leader. You know, all the audibles out, being loud, handling the crowd noise during practice week. So he's definitely been loud for sure.
Rich Scorsello.
You know, if Sean can't play Saturday, how important does
I can't hear you.
sorry. If Sean can't play Saturday, how important does the running game become?
You know, I think the running game is important regardless of who's at quarterback. I think that we still have a lot to prove in the run game, and I think there's just so much meat left on the bone when it comes to the run game. We have all the tools. We've just yet to do a great job at putting all those tools together. So I think that every week that's something that we put a lot of emphasis on, and we've been continuing to put emphasis on because we know that every play it's just one little thing that's kind of not right and that's a little off, and that's all it takes for it not to be for the play to not be as good as it should be. So I think that's something that regardless of who the quarterback, that's vital for us for every game for the rest of the season.
Greg Pickle.
Yeah, staying on that theme, Theo, it sounds like the tight ends can obviously play a big role in putting the tools together, so to speak. But what does the offense as a whole need to do that? And what were some of the things that jumped off of film in terms of maybe not working as well during the first half that can be working well during the second half?
Sorry, can you repeat that question for me?
Absolutely. Sorry, I think my internet might have jumped on me there a little. It sounds like the tight ends obviously can play a big role in putting the tools together for the run game. But what can the offense do as a whole in that regard? Not just the tight ends, but the offense as a whole to kind of put everything together and be better in that area during the second half of the season?
I think it's really just being on the same page. That's just the biggest thing. If we make a check, everyone's got to know the check and everyone's got to execute that check properly, and everyone's got to do their job. We got the lineman has to be on the same page, do their job. We got to be on the same page, and the running backs got to trust it. The linemen and the tight ends are making the blocks the right way and hit the gap they're supposed to. So I think we just have yet to play as a whole collectively. And some years just talk about a lot is just trust. Like running backs got to trust that gap's going to open up, and they gotta push that gap. Tight ends got to trust that the running back's going to hit where he's supposed to. So we got to get our landmarks properly. So I think that we just got to play the whole, and I think that's something that we haven't done a lot of. We've had flashes of it. I think as we continue to do that, that's when run game is going to really start to pop and thrive.
Andrew Destin.
Theo, yesterday got to speak with both Bryce Effner and Cam Sullivan-Brown. They talked about your natural athleticism, some of the abilities that you inherently have. What are some areas of your game that maybe aren't as inherent that you still feel you need to work on and are trying to improve upon?
I think that, just being a receiver in high school, I never really did a lot of the blocking that is asked of me right now. So I think that's something that never really came as natural to me as running routes or catching the football. So that's something that as soon as I came to college, I just poured a lot of my time and energy into, because I know it's something that was going to take a lot of work. So just the progress I've made from coming off campus, from literally not knowing anything about footwork or stance for that matter as a tight end to where I'm at now. I'm definitely very pleased. And it's something that, like I've said, I'm still working on, and I have a lot of growth still left to do. But that's something that doesn't come as natural to me, but I've made huge strides in that aspect for sure.
We have time for 2 more questions. We'll go to Joe Giuliano.
Theo, I was wondering, how long did it take you to get over the Iowa game? And as of last week, was the off week beneficial, or did you want to get right back to it and play another game to kind of eliminate the bad taste?
I think that, for me, probably, the day of the game was definitely tough. And then the day after, once we got on the practice field, you're done licking your wounds, and you just realize you gotta focus in on the next week, which is the bye week. You gotta rest up. I think the bye week was definitely beneficial to rehab and rest up your body, and then really, look back at previous games, and then now rein in on Illinois. I think it was definitely beneficial for sure. But I think that once you get to practice the next day after a game like that, I think honestly everyone's more focused, if anything, on just improving and making the corrections they need to. So something like that never happens again.
Last question, Andrew Destin.
Similar to Rich's question earlier, given the uncertainty at that quarterback spot this Saturday, what do you personally want to provide at that tight end spot in the passing game against Illinois?
I think that I want to make all the plays that come to me, and when the ball comes to me, that I make a play and I make explosive plays, and I continue to instill trust in the quarterbacks, whoever it is lined up at quarterback. And I think that as a unit, that's all something that we need to push for, is being a reliable target, whether it's being able to rely on our depth and our timing, and just catching the ball. I think we need to be better at being reliable and consistent, and I think that's something that throughout the rest of the season I'm going to strive to be. Every play is just consistent.